North Korea says it's on standby to aim missiles at American military bases in the Pacific. They say it's in response to the U.S. using stealth bombers during military maneuvers with South Korea. I asked former U.S. Ambassador to South Korea and lead negotiator on North Korea, Christopher Hill, and Joseph Cirincione, former advisor to President Obama on nuclear issues, how serious this threat really is.
Still, I do not think the North Koreans intentionally want to start a war. I believe this is mainly for domestic politics in North Korea to shore up Kim Jong-un's leadership role. The danger is that they could spiral out of control. This is how wars start, by miscalculation, by accident. So we have to be very careful, very measured in our responses to this bluster.
How effective is this tactic, even domestically, for that country?
Oh, I think this works. You can see the mass demonstrations that are in the squares at Pyongyang. Even yesterday, they whip up this fervor of North Korea being attacked by the aggressive imperialist West, being defended by the young, strong leader. I think this has proven over the years to be a very effective tactic for the Kim dynasty. Kim Jong-un is the third Kim to be using this to prop up his rule.
Okay, Chris, should we worry as much about an attack on U.S. bases? You know, what really should we be worried about?
Well, I think it's very unlikely that there would be an attack on U.S. bases, especially this idea they're going to hit the mainland. I think the real issue is very much on the Korean Peninsula, whether you could have an incident on the demilitarized zone or perhaps an incident offshore. You know, it's well known that the South Korean Navy has just had it up to here with these North Korean provocations. So I think what is very interesting about this is how prolonged this propaganda campaign has been, how intense it's been, and the big question will be when our exercises wind down, which is toward the end of April, will the propaganda wind down? In the meantime, will it continue through what is really going to be several more weeks?
Yeah, I mean, Joseph, the Pentagon, it's already announced that it's going to start beefing up its missile defense system. Is that the right move, knowing that this may be all posturing at this point?
I think the U.S. has taken appropriate measures at this point. You're directing it to me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, appropriate measures at this point. It isn't that the missile defenses work, they don't really, but it's a gesture on the part of the United States. I thought the bomber drills, sending the B-52s and B-2 bombers over South Korea, was appropriate at this point. It's mainly directed to draw, at North Korea, to draw a line saying, you know, you were playing with fire here, but more to our South Korean allies to reassure them that we have their back, that they, in turn, can be a little more confident in their responses to North Korea. So you see the South Korean president, Mrs. Park, still, even during this period, offering diplomatic exchanges, offering an olive branch to the North Koreans, and that's because she knows that the United States is behind them with any military measures, should those be required.
Okay, so Chris, let me ask you this. What is the end game for North Korea?
Well, you know, I think we shouldn't just get into the notion that somehow this is same old, same old. We have a very untested leader. They're obviously trying to show that he's a wartime leader. You know, I don't think we should assume that this is necessarily going to be a success for them. I think what is also interesting is that historically the North Koreans have really tried to play off the idea that there's a left wing in South Korea that they can sort of use as their fifth column, and yet they seem to have really written that off. So I think we're into an era right now where the North Koreans have essentially kind of cut off any possibilities or hopes of reconciliation on the Korean Peninsula.
And that was Christopher Hill, former U.S. Ambassador to South Korea, and Joseph Cirincione. He's the former advisor to President Obama on nuclear issues. Okay, let's go ahead and talk weather, because